It is day 69 of Donald Trump's war in Iran, and there's one thing we can now say for certain. Donald Trump is nonsense, and his words mean nothing. This is what his unnecessary and illegal war in Iran has further revealed to the American people, and importantly, to America's allies and adversaries around the world. Here's what we know. Whatever the ceasefire is supposed to be is not holding, because Iran and the U.S. exchanged fire in the Strait of Hormuz for the second day in a row. The New York Times reports, quote, the United States said it had fired on 2 Iranian-flagged oil tankers on Friday as Iran's foreign minister accused Washington of a reckless military adventure and of undermining diplomatic efforts to end the war. The latest strikes came a day after the U.S. military and Iran exchanged fire in the Strait of Hormuz, fighting that the Iranian military said was triggered by an earlier U.S. attack on another Iranian tanker. The U.S. attacked Iranian military sites yesterday in response to Iranian strikes on U.S. Navy ships. And here is Donald Trump today saying words.
They trifled with us today. We blew them away. They trifled. I call that a trifle. I'll let you know when there's no ceasefire. You won't have to know. If there's no ceasefire, you're not going to have to know. You're just going to have to look at one big glow coming out of Iran. And they better sign their agreement fast.
If those words don't make sense to you, don't worry. It's not you. It's him. Because those words are nonsense. That answer is just a roulette wheel of words strung together, devoid of meaning or connection to reality. The Trump administration is supposedly waiting for Iran to respond to their latest proposal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz and end the fighting as peace talks resume. 4 people familiar with the document tell the Washington Post that a confidential CIA analysis delivered to the administration policymakers this week concludes that Iran can survive the U.S. naval blockade for at least 3 to 4 months before facing more severe economic hardship. A finding that appears to raise new questions about President Donald Trump's optimism about ending the war. And there's new reporting in The Atlantic today that Donald Trump is bored of his war in Iran. Trump is tired of the war, which has proved far more difficult and lasted far longer than he had expected. His party's warily watching rising gas prices and falling poll numbers. He doesn't want to be bogged down in a Middle East conflict that some of his predecessors were. He doesn't want it to upend his high-stakes summit next week in China. He's ready to move on. One outside advisor who speaks with him regularly told me the president is bored with the war. Let that sink in for a second. Donald Trump is bored with his illegal war in Iran that is incredibly unpopular, with 66% of Americans disapproving of his handling of Iran barely in its 3rd month of war, a war that's costing Americans every day. The national average for gas prices, $4.55 a gallon, surging more than 50% since before the war started, as expected, because oil went up by that much. In many states, the price is higher. In Pennsylvania, it's $4.69 a gallon. The war-driven inflation is also understandably crushing consumer confidence. CNBC reports that surging gas prices due to the Iran war sent consumer sentiment to a new low in the early part of May, according to a University of Michigan survey on Friday. And companies are feeling the economic pressure as well. Whirlpool's shares plunged more than 20% after the company said that consumer confidence has fallen to recession-level lows because of the Iran war, tanking demand for big appliances. And even though the Pentagon claimed to Congress that Trump's war in Iran only cost $25 billion, the economics professor Justin Wolfers writes in a New York Times op-ed that that figure doesn't come close to the true cost to the American people. Quote, by my calculations, the bill for a typical American household likely runs to thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. The toll from this upheaval must be counted in lives disrupted, jobs lost, companies shut down, see Spirit Airlines, and the income and output sacrificed. The less easily quantified costs, death, disability, and mental health, could become much more dramatic should President Trump send troops into Iran, which still can't be ruled out. The best any economist can do right now is get the order of magnitude right, and my math suggests the Iran war will cost hundreds of billions of dollars and very possibly trillions. It's not just that Donald Trump doesn't know or understand the cost of war for Americans.
Do you not know? You had no one do the analysis of what the increased cost of gas and food on the American people are going to be?
What is the cost of Iran holding that straight at issue with nuclear weapons?
It's $631 billion, which means it's an increase of $5,000 a year for American households. Now, let me give you this point. You're saying that your operation is preventing a nuclear Iran. Will you acknowledge that there is an economic cost to the American people for doing what you believe is necessary to make Iran denuclear? Will you acknowledge the economic cost?
We have an incredible economic team that's managing this better than what the previous administration did to our economy.
You acknowledge there's a cost. You don't even know what the average American is paying. You don't know what we paid in terms of the missiles that hit the Iranian school. You don't know what we're paying in terms of gas. You don't know what we're paying in terms of food. Your 25 billion number is totally off. It's the incompetence.
And amid all those costs, now the American taxpayers are on the hook for $1 billion for Trump's ballroom.
I'm paying for it. I'm paying for it. The country's not, and that's an expensive ballroom. These are all private individuals that put up a lot of money to build the ballroom. Not one penny is being used from the federal government. We're giving them, myself and donors are giving them free of charge for nothing. So we did this no charge to the taxpayer whatsoever. We have no taxpayer putting up 10 cents.
Okay. Well, that vanity project ballroom that taxpayers, quote, won't pay a dime for, not 10 cents, now has $1 billion price tag in the reconciliation bill because Republican lawmakers in Congress are now fully convinced that the only way to protect the American president is with a ballroom.
The ballroom will be a solution for this. We need a place. We have needed a place like that, and the president keeps pointing it out.
The sooner we get the ballroom built, the more hardened it is, the better for the country.
I support Trump building a ballroom, yes, of course, especially after this weekend.
I'm working on legislation to ensure that we are getting the ballroom funded. It's obviously a national security element to that, and it needs to be done.
This has to be addressed. At a minimum, we have to have a safe place to protect the President of the United States.
Trump's stupid ballroom will make none of us safer. It will make none of us lives better. And worst of all, Trump has already wrecked the White House grounds so that even if he doesn't succeed at building the ballroom, we're stuck with the hole that he's created, which is a metaphor for America right now. We, the American people, will have to fill the vacuum he's created, rebuild what he has torn down, sort of the same thing as the Strait of Hormuz. I was there during the negotiations for the Iran nuclear deal during 2015, but most people I know never gave the thing much thought. I'm guessing you never had much reason to think about this random waterway halfway around the world before, because it was open to everyone to use for free. But Donald Trump has wrecked it. And no matter what deal he comes up with Iran, if he comes up with any deal at all, things will never go back to the way they were, because Iran now knows that it can close the Strait of Hormuz whenever it chooses and disrupt the global economy. So Donald Trump basically helped Iran get a new weapon. Today also marks 8 years. 8 years since Donald Trump ripped up the Iran nuclear deal that was negotiated under the Obama administration, a deal that was working. And now Donald Trump is desperately trying to get Iran to make a deal again and end his war that we are all paying for every day and will be paying for years to come.